Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And today we're going to be talking about even her mom was confused.
Even mom didn't know?
Even mom doesn't know what's going on. Listen guys, I know many of you are going to your ex's family looking for answers. A lot of times a mom really liked you, maybe loved you, treated you like family, and you want to go to them for answers after the breakup. I know, I've been there, I've done it. Okay, now the thing about it is that sometimes you'll get some information, but a lot of times it backfires on you, and a lot of times you're not getting accurate information. Because I think in many cases, your ex isn't telling your mom the whole story, especially if you were dating an avoidant. They're going to be even more likely to keep that information private.
Right.
Okay?
And remember that any information that you do get through her mother or through their mother, rather, it's filtered through their lens. And also through the lens of they are going to protect their child first.
In many cases, yes. They may try and tell you some stuff to protect you or because they really liked you and they don't want you guys to break up. But you can't assume that it's true. You can't assume that mom knows everything. And you got to be careful because there's a good chance you're going to piss your ex off. Okay? I can tell you, it's happened with me. The mom took my side. The family took my side. They loved me. And then my ex got mad at them and lashed out at them and stopped talking to their family for a bit. And they didn't even know all the information. So all the time I thought I was getting all this important information. I wasn't getting much information at all. And in fact, I was just making it worse. So don't reach out to friends and family. Stop doing it. You got to stop doing it. Okay?
Right. And you have to remember that your ex is in the state where they want to make their own decision. They're asserting their autonomy and reaching out to their friends and family. It's demeaning that. It's saying, okay, your decision isn't as important if I can use other people to try to influence you.
Or manipulate. Yeah. So we had an email coaching. And you guys are going to like this one. This is from a guy in his early 20s. And he was dating this woman for 3 years. Okay, so he said that they met during the last year of school together. Okay? Now, they're both at university, and they live about 15 minutes away when they're back home. So, at university, I guess they go to the same university, and at home, not too far away. We were inseparable during those 3 years. We spent a lot of time around each other's houses, and we went on frequent drives. Okay, so that's kind of implying he knows the mom. He's over there all the time, right? So she probably knows this guy really well. When I met her, her friendship group had deserted her for reasons I'm still unsure of to this day. And I welcomed her into mine. Now that's odd to me. Why did all of her friends desert her? Were they not good people, or did she do something that upset them all?
And it's really important to look at somebody's social circle. It really gives you a clue into their mental health, really. You know, there's that quote that you are your 5 friends that you surround yourself with. And I think there is some truth to that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of telling the people you surround yourself with. Sure. Okay. He says, initially she was apprehensive as she has anxiety. She's anxious to the point where someone must take the phone and speak on her behalf for appointments. That's pretty extreme.
That is pretty extreme.
You can't even pick up the phone to make an appointment?
Yeah.
That's serious. Okay, that's a serious level of anxiety that's impacting your daily functioning.
And it sounds so far like it can be more like social anxiety than anything else. If she's afraid to speak on the phone, also issues with her interpersonal relationships.
Yeah, but I think this is going to have a big impact on the situation, right? I'm close with her family and still am. Her mom was so upset with the breakup, she started crying and gave me a hug. Her sister had broken up with her boyfriend for abusive reasons, and she was shocked as to why she broke up with me. Her mom wanted me to keep in contact, but she understood if it would be too much for me. I have never abused her verbally or emotionally. I asked her if she thought I had, and she said I didn't, or she didn't. Well, I mean, if you're close with the mom, why would she think you're abusing her, right? No, I wouldn't think mom would think that.
Oh, yeah.
Mom was upset and crying because he broke up. I hadn't cheated on her with any other girl. Her mom thinks she just wants to be independent, as this year she has an actual friendship group at university, which she hasn't had for a while. I think this is a big part of this situation. She had no friendship group when they started meeting. She kind of incorporated herself into his friendship group, but now she's kind of getting independent here, which makes sense, especially based on her age.
Right. The key word here is independent. Developmentally, she is at that age where she wants to explore, build her own relationships outside of the familial ones. And I wonder if because they started their relationship out so early and he was so integrated into the family, if it lost that sense of novelty.
Yep. Her mom is so confused as she says that she appears to be acting more independent than usual since the breakup. So it sounds like she's also individuating from mom here, right?
And it's actually a really good sign to see mom supporting that independence.
Yes.
That's not something you see often.
Yeah, we want her to be independent. I know you don't want her to be independent, but you also don't want her to be having to go to other people to make phone calls.
Right.
Could you order that pizza for me? I'm starving. I've been waiting for you to get home for 8 hours.
Oh, no.
This summer, we agreed we'd go on a break, but get back together in a few months while still being friends. Now that's suspicious. Why does she want a break? Right? They were at university together, then they were going back home, so they were only 15 minutes apart. It's not like they were 4 or 5 hours away. So it tells me something's going on. She already wants a break.
Yeah, and also that request for meeting back up in a few months, I see that quite often, where an ex will put a pause on the relationship for a period of time. And to me, this seems more of a magic fix. Let's hope that if we avoid the situation with time, things will change. Now, that's not always the case. Maybe she does feel like she needs some alone time to do some personal growth. But more likely than not, if she's not communicating what she's going to work on, what she expects you to work on during that time, what changes can you expect?
Yeah, good point. However, she acted as if she was still my girlfriend. She's very pretty, so getting attention from guys is common. It didn't used to bother me, but in the last couple of months it has, and I felt insecure. Okay, so I think after she wanted that break, he started to feel anxious and probably started doing a lot of insecure behaviors that started to turn her off. That would be my guess. She also said she wanted to break up with me 2 months ago, but was scared she'd be alone. Okay, so she said she wanted to break up a couple months ago, and she had wanted a break. It tells me she's been unhappy for a while.
Yeah,
Okay.
And I can see both sides of it. It sounds like she herself wants her own independence, but there's something comforting about having somebody there for you to support you. I mean, just even hearing that he would help her make these phone calls and make appointments for her.
Get that pizza for me.
Yeah.
He's got to order that pizza.
It sounded like she depended on him a lot, and on one end that's comforting, but on the other hand she can see that it's stunting her own personal growth.
Yeah. When she broke up, she said she wants to be friends, but I said I'd hurt too much. She said she didn't want to lose me. She said maybe in the future. No one knows. A few days later, she cut contact. When her mom would ask, she would say she keeps saying no one knows the future. She just said she wasn't happy with the relationship. Doesn't give many reasons here, though. It's a little confusing, huh?
Yeah.
I feel it's because I didn't take her out on dates. I snooped through her phone once because she lied once, and I was insecure. So what was the lie about, though? That's the first thing that I kind of wondered. Was it a small lie, or was it she was talking to some other guy, and he started to freak out about it? And so I don't know. He didn't say.
All right. And also thinking about things in the context of family systems. So the family being like a web, when one part of the web is affected, it affects the entire family system. So thinking about her sister being in this abusive relationship, I'm sure things were highly emotional. I'm sure her family went into this protective mode of we can't have any intruders here. We need to protect ourselves from possibly hurtful partners. And so I wonder if he is bearing some of the brunt of that.
Could possibly be, yes, there could be something going on there. There'd be a shift in the system, for sure.
Not saying that he necessarily did anything wrong, but it sounds like she might be a little bit more hypervigilant to anything that could be perceived as control, which could be also perceived as abuse. Not saying it is.
Yeah.
Just saying how people can be hypersensitive to
And when
that.
he went through the phone, that could be perceived as controlling.
Possibly.
She hasn't said that, though. This is what I'm inferring. All in all, we had a great times together, and she even said so to her mom. At its peak, we were so happy together. We really looked after each other when we were hurt and sad. We're both still friends on social media, and the breakup wasn't messy. She didn't ask for her stuff back or return mine. We even planned to get a flat after university with various pets. We spoke about it a month or two before the breakup. So even, that's so confusing, right? Just a month or two before the breakup, they're talking about moving in together. And she breaks up with him. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
She was upset I gave back some things she bought me and has taken some of my things to the university. For example, his jumper. Her mom said she kept an individual rose petal from a bouquet I bought her before we broke up in a phone case, but removed everything else in the case. That was a little confusing to me. How many things can you have in a phone case?
I don't know. Maybe it's a couple pictures or something in there.
Yeah, I guess so. That's a good point. Do I have a good chance? I wish for one. I found out that it was because of the lack of trust due to my insecurities and lack of fun dates. Saying yes to them, but not following through. I didn't break no contact to find out. All right. That last little message was something he had sent following my email coaching. So I thought I'd throw it in there. So his insecurities and lack of fun dates was the reason she wanted to break up. What do you think of that?
I have mixed feelings about that. Insecurities, I could see how some of her behaviors drew some of that out of you. Her asking for a break, also the fact she's going to university, and that lie. I think that would make most people even just a little bit anxious. So have some compassion for yourself in regards to that. It sounds like, even in your language now, that maybe you would have gone about things differently. As far as lack of fun dates, I could also see that being a possibility. As we mentioned before, being in this developmental stage, you are after things that are new and exciting and discovering things about yourself. And so possibly going out and being that person that she can have fun with and be young with would have been incredible. Ultimately, I think she's going to need to fend for herself in the real world before she can truly get that sense of, I have autonomy, I can make it on my own, regardless of how many fun dates you could have went on.
Yeah. I think, a big part of this is her age. We know she's got serious issues with anxiety, and so maybe right now she's feeling the strongest she's ever felt to kind of be her own person and trying to do that. I think that with maybe feeling like the relationship had gotten stale and him getting insecure and maybe doing more insecure behaviors that he realizes or even shared in the email, those things together added up to her just feeling like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. It sounds like he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, the family really cares about him, the mom and maybe the sister. But you can't keep trying to go to them for information.
Right.
Which is probably who he got this from at the end here.
Probably. I also wonder what the lack of fun dates really means. I'm thinking about these two characters, one of which has social anxiety, the other of which is extremely emotionally supportive, but that could also be perceived as enabling. Why were fun dates important? I wonder if that would have meant taking her out in more social environments and challenging herself. And so just looking at it through that viewpoint, I do wonder if there could have been more that he could have done to support her independence, and maybe that's also part of why things ended the way they did.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I think you have to leave her alone. And if she reaches out, I would be sure that, first of all, you do something fun.
Yeah, true.
Take her out for a pizza.
Yeah, you could.
Remember when I ordered all those pizzas for you? How could you leave me?
Yeah, right.
No, I'm kidding about that, obviously. But I would say don't put any pressure on her. I think she's looking for some independence right now. And so I would just focus on having fun when you're having a connection with her and not putting any pressure on her because you're anxious or afraid of losing her. Let her come back to you at her speed. I think it's possible she does, but if she feels like you're hurting or sad or, upset about things, I think she's going to be less likely to do it.
And she'll feel pretty guilty.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing is, remember that everything that her mother tells you is through a lens. And so in this situation, I don't know if the mother feels like she cannot share as much information. I'm sure her daughter is telling her, hey, please don't share anything about me. That could be a part of it. And just hearing that the mother is as confused, how genuine is that? It could be, but it could also be that the mother knows every single detail and is not showing it. It could also be the opposite. Maybe the mom doesn't really know anything about your relationship at all.
Yeah. It's hard to know.
It really is.
Yeah, because I've seen it both ways. Just leave her be for now. See what she does. Work on your anxiety. Work on your insecurities because that always is going to help you reattract somebody. And just remember that she is very young and she's got some mental health issues she's got to work through. So, people need to be in a good place before they're ready to stay in a committed relationship.
Exactly.
All right, so hopefully you found this one helpful. If you want to get our help personally, you can do it on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. And of course, Coach Victoria is available.
I'm here if you'd like to talk.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.